Could be living in a dream. Feel the world inside our feet, and our hearts in the right place. Time quietly slips away, a perfect day. Time quietly slips away, a perfect day. Sun above, the sky is golden. We run free like a river, carried away in the moment. Time quietly slips away, a perfect day. Time quietly slips away, a perfect day. And I never knew magic like this. The clouds have fallen to the sea, and I never knew happiness like this. Now I breathe easy. Time quietly slips away, a perfect day. Time quietly slips away, a perfect day.
I spent so long under a storm cloud, and a glance into your eyes is all that I need to climb to my feet and take on these hills with a new sense of ease. I love you, and you'll see. I'll tell you my beauty. I love you, and you'll see. I'll tell you my beauty. I love you, and you'll see. I'll tell you my beauty. I love you, and you'll see. I'll tell you my
Well, good evening. Welcome to our May 14th regular city council meeting. Tonight, we have got a short consent item of about 18 items. We have 2 public hearings and 1 action item. One action item, there has been a request for withdrawal by staff. So I'd like to call our council meeting to order. City Clerk.
Mayor Harkey,
Here.
Vice Mayor Lopez,
Here.
Councilmember Stewart,
Here.
Councilmember McClymans,
Here.
Councilmember Wong,
Here.
Councilmember Rowe,
Here.
Councilmember Orlando.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Would you please join me? I'll be leading us in an invocation, followed by Councilmember McClymans with the Pledge of Allegiance. Lord God, we thank you for the blessings that you have bestowed upon our community. We thank you for the opportunity for the decisions that are before us tonight. We ask for your ongoing wisdom and your blessings upon our community, upon our leaders, upon our staff. We thank you for our first responders, for keeping them safe, and this week as we honor our police as well. So we again invite your blessings upon this gathering and meeting tonight. I ask all these things in Jesus' name, amen.
Please join me in reciting our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember. So Council, on our agenda, consent agenda tonight, we have received a couple comments, one with questions related to item number 4. Those have been received, I believe, and you've also received those previously, and those will be read into the record with appropriate comments answering, not read into the record, those will be put into the record with the questions that are answered. So Council, what is your pleasure with our consent agenda tonight? Vice Mayor.
So I will move to approve our regular meeting consent agenda for Thursday, May 14th.
Is there a second? Councilmember McClymans. We have a motion and a second. Council, is there any comments or questions?
Mayor, yeah,
Councilmember-
item 4,
Yes, sir.
there's several questions here. Can we have staff answer these questions on behalf of the residents, since the resident's not here?
We can. The residents has received those answers already, but if that is,
Yeah,
can do that.
let's put them in the record. I'd rather put them in the record.
they will be in the record, but you'd like to have them read or
Yeah, I'd like
addressed
to,
publicly too?
yeah, I'd like to have a public discussion. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Mayor, council members, so the letter of comments that we received on Monday night, those are the comments that we have responded to. Would you like me to read all the questions in and the answers?
No, just Mr. Wakefield's, I know he's been an advocate, he's been, attending a lot of these sessions, and if you could just address him so that we can understand, because there's some letters of support, and I know there's letters not here, but I don't want to get into that, but I really want Mr. Wakefield, since he has been a champion of this for a long, long time, so if you could address just his issues, I appreciate it.
Okay. Mayor, council members, without kind of reading all the questions, in summation, I guess, his questions revolved around 2 things. What and how will water be supplied to the property, the future subdivision, and then regarding a road connection that was initially shown on the Germain Country Garden Estates, the subdivision to the west. All of his questions kind of on the water side, we just wanted clarification of what water will be provided to the site. And the simple answer is that the city of Chandler will provide city potable water to the site that the 8 homeowners will use for their homes, for their individual landscaping, and then also for the HOA tracks for that landscaping, all within, but it's all provided by the city water main that's in Germain Road. And then he had a question about Germain Country Garden Estates. In its original approval, there was talk at the time about potentially bringing in the subject 2 parcels at a very quick second phase. And so there was a potential roadway connection that was put at the southern end that served 3 different things. 1, if it desired to be a vehicular connection. 2, a emergency vehicle connection. And then 3, our ability to loop our water lines. So we had a looped water system for not only Germain Country Garden Estates, but this future parcel as well. Because the immediate, very quick second phase didn't come in as part of the first development, and then this came in as a completely separate. Through this development process, it was determined that it wasn't necessary to connect those two with a permanent roadway. So this site isn't providing the proper width to add that future street connection in. However, is extending the emergency access easement and appropriate width for that, as well as providing the place for the looping of the public water main city utility coming around that way. So both those questions and kind of both the answers, our answers are more detailed, obviously, in our
Yeah, and I
response.
saw
So
that. And I
that's part of
appreciate, again, I just want to put this on the record that we did address Mr. Wakefield's concerns, and it was a misspoke if he could not appear. The fact was, he could send these in, he could watch on TV or internet or some other mechanism, so I understand that, but I just wanted to clarify that he did have an opportunity. Unfortunately, we'll be opening this up next council meeting or next session, so it should be able to communicate if he had any other concerns. Did he respond back to any of your questions or your answers to the questions?
No, we haven't received any response yet, but we had responded to these questions. We sent out the response today. It took us a couple days to get those responses because some of his questions were a bit more technical in their nature, and so we wanted to make sure we had many internal meetings throughout this week to get the answers clarified, and then sent those out. And I did actually see his correspondence just before we sent the comments out, kind of questioning, hey, I hadn't received a response. So we actually reached out to him and let him know we were responding to them. He was going to get them, and then sent them out via email directly to him and also to the city clerk.
And this is an introduction to the ordinance for the actual enclave, so we'll see this again, at least this portion of it.
Yep.
And the plans the preliminary plans will be approved tonight, but then we'll have the final plats come back as well, right?
Yes, correct. The ordinance comes back for final adoption on, I think, May 28th.
So Mr. Wakefield, if he wanted to show, he could obviously come to the next council meeting.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Council, and again, as I mentioned, the complete questions and the answers provided to him are all going to be submitted into the record, that as people have a chance to review these meetings, they'll see his questions and complete answers. Councilmember Rowe.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick shout out to Mo Wakefield. He has been tenacious and worked very hard to look out for his neighborhood. And we received his comments. And if you're watching, thank you. And it's good to have people engaged and that care about their neighborhood. So thank you, Mo.
Council, any other questions? All right, Council, please vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Very good. Thank you, Council. Under unscheduled public appearances, we did also receive a letter for that, and I've asked the city clerk if she will read this into the record. City clerk.
An unscheduled public appearance was comment was received from Fred Borns at 6 South Stellar Parkway. He writes, I have lived at 6 South Stellar Parkway, Chandler, since November 6, 1976. Over these many years, the neighborhood has changed dramatically. In particular, the amount and nature of the auto traffic on Stellar Parkway has become a real problem for residents facing this residential street. At least three measurements of traffic count and speed have been conducted over the past 10 or 15 years, which have revealed as many as 800 vehicles per day, of which more than 50% exceed the posted speed limit of 25 miles per hour. Recently, the fixed base operator, platted for providing aircraft storage on his property, has converted to storage of recreational vehicles, with the consequence being much more use of Stellar Parkway for the transport of motorhomes and fifth wheels using large diesel-powered trucks. There is much more to this issue than can be explained here, but I am reaching out to the mayor and council to begin a process for enabling the use of surveillance cameras for the purpose of documenting violations. These units would be installed on city streetlight poles, but purchased and maintained by private neighborhood funds.
And again, council, that's, sorry, I'm a little out of order actually here. That normally would be at the end, so I apologize for that. But, and we'll certainly make sure that staff responds to this in regard to his inquiries. Next, we have 2 public hearings. Appropriate staff, hello.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the council. Yes, before you in the public hearing is an annexation public hearing for a property located at the northeast corner of Gilbert Road and Brooks Farm Road. This property encompasses approximately 75 acres. Their current owner is the Chandler Unified School District, as well as a portion of a parcel owned by the RWCD, Roosevelt Water Conservation District. There is an easement as well on the property that is SRP easement that comes from Brooks Farm Road up through the center to the former house that was on the property. This annexation that is in the county is zoned RU43. And this property, upon annexation, the city will rezone it to AG1, which does allow for schools such as this public school. The surrounding uses that you see are all within the city on the east side of Gilbert Road. We have residential, commercial, as well as a elementary school and park to the southeast of this property. On the west side of Gilbert, there are still several parcels that are within the county. And this is the last remaining county property on the east side, so we are enlarging our city limits. With that being said, there are utility services available to serve this property. There are several services within Gilbert Road, including water, wastewater, and reclaimed water, as well as water services in Mustang Road, which is on the east side of the property, and Brooks Farm on the south and Mustang on the east. We circulated this request to various staff divisions. We have not received anything negative to this. As well, it's important to mention that in December of 2019, an intergovernmental agreement was signed between the city, the school district, and the county, giving the city authority to issue construction permits, which if you've been out to the property, there has been some construction already started and grading with that. As well, the recommendation that the city must hold this public hearing this evening to gather input, and there is no action required of council this evening. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Council, we've had multiple discussions over this, and again, this is just the annexation, but is there any discussion, questions related to our first public hearing?
Mayor.
Councilmember Stewart.
So thank you for the presentation, very thorough. Do you have any, I know people are going to be asking questions about stoplights and some things like that. Is that going to be presented at a later date, like where the traffic flow and all those things will be? Or is that something we should talk about briefly tonight?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Stewart, that is not part of the annexation. That would be discussed at a later point with that, because this will be being seen before you on May 28th for the introduction to the annexation. But this is not the part of the presentation to talk about traffic signals.
Okay, thank you. And this is the, for people that are watching, there is a diagram here of where the sports fields and buildings and all those things. Is this been approved and this is moving forward? I received this in my packet, so.
through the mayor and council member. With that, if there are questions about that, that is the most recent illustration of what they are proposing that has been provided to the city.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments related to this public hearing?
Can we put that up for the public to see? Or is that?
So this is really just an annexation for the property, in my understanding is, city attorney?
No, I just thought it would be about
Sure.
people out there that might be watching, that's all.
Mayor, if I may, it can be shown, it is not an approved, it's a site plan, it's for more for demonstrative purposes only at this point, because they're going to work on finalizing a site plan. But it gives an idea of what
So
they're
this is
looking
the
at.
tentative site plan that
Correct.
and, okay. All right, and
Mayor, I can assure you I will be getting a handful of calls about this as soon as we make this announcement. So getting a peek would be nice. Thank you.
okay. Again, is
Mayor.
that being shown on the,
Susan, can you get it up on the screen?
all right. Very good. All right. Council, any additional discussion related to this annexation? And was there any comments or discussion from the public related to this, city clerk, that came in?
No comments were received for this public hearing.
All right. Council, I'd like to then close our first public hearing. And again, we will have multiple times, we'll have this. I know the applicant has and will continue to work with our community too, as we'll be deferring comments to them as we have. Our second public hearing is related to our downtown Chandler Enhanced Municipal Services District. And Kim Moyer.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Tonight, the item before you is the Downtown Chandler Enhanced Municipal Services District's annual assessment. I'm going to ask John Owens, our Downtown Redevelopment Specialist, to come tell you a little bit more about the EMSD process and what those assessment dollars are used for.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is John Owens. I'm the Downtown Redevelopment Specialist for the city. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up this presentation here. Okay. So tonight I'm here to present the fiscal year 2021 Enhanced Municipal Service District Annual Assessment. We'll call it the EMSD henceforth. But first I want to talk a little bit about what the EMSD is, provide some background. So the EMSD was created in 2005 and is in its 15th year. It covers 61.4 acres and over 1 million square feet of commercial space. An Enhanced Municipal Services District is formed to provide public services up and beyond typical public services elsewhere within the city. Such services include safety, beautification, marketing and promotion, and professional management and communications. These services are provided by the Downtown Chandler Community Partnership, also known as the DCCP, through an annual contract with the city, which will come to the City Council next month for potential approval. So I'd like to take a moment to highlight a few of the EMSD services provided by the DCCP last year. They executed several successful special events and marketing campaigns to draw residents and visitors to downtown Chandler. This includes Sippin' Santas, the Farmers Market, as well as Friday Night Live, the Friday night concert series that was new this year. They team with the Downtown Bike Team on special events, weekend nightlife activity, and any concerns by restaurants or residents to help make sure that we keep downtown safe for our community, particularly in the later hours. The DCCP contracted with Block by Block to provide 56 hours a week of additional street cleaning, which are held by 2 clean team members. The clean team members assist with picking up trash, cigarette butts, gum, cleaning trash can lids, and many other responsibilities through downtown's busiest nights and weekends. They can easily be identified by their very bright yellow hats and shirts. I'm sure you've seen them out there. The DCCP is also the day-to-day boots-on-the-ground staff that works closely with the city to make sure the downtown is running smoothly. They meet with stakeholders for special events coordination, cross-promotion of marketing initiatives, and specialized meetings when issues arise. And additionally, I want to add that the DCCP has responded quickly to the COVID-19 pandemic by creating a COVID-specific webpage on their website and providing regular updates to both downtown businesses and to outside patrons about restaurant specials, hours, changes like that. So we'll talk about DCC or EMSD process here very quickly. The assessment was authorized by the property owners in the district with 100% of the assessment proceeds being paid to the district. The city council is the governing body who officially enables the district, and it must be renewed each year. There are some annual steps, and we'll go through them, and they're as follows. Step 1, the rate is set by the city council. The rate has remained the same since its inception in 2005. Step 2 is on March 26th. Council provided tentative assessment approval and set the hearing date for tonight. Since then, in anticipation of the public hearing, staff has published the notice of hearing as required by Arizona revised statutes 5 consecutive days before the hearing. And the DCCP staff mailed notices to all property owners in the district of their right to file an objection. No objections have been received at this point. Thank you.
No objections.
So we have some steps upcoming as well, including tonight's public hearing. And then the following step will be next month's June 11th council meeting, where the potential approval of the contract with the DCCP to administer the EMSD will be put before you. And that includes the city's voluntary contribution of $118,804 to the district. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
So just one quick question. We have an action item that's actually approving this tonight. That's what we're talking, not a month from now, correct?
Correct. We approve, Mayor, we approve the contract with the DCCP at the next meeting. This approves the assessment for the district.
Okay, so this will come back to us in a month, the following action. Thank you. Council, any questions?
Mayor.
Councilmember Orlando.
Thank you, sir. So what was added from last year's assessment? What properties were added?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Orlando. The district boundaries don't change, but we do have growth not only in property values, but also New Square and Overstreet were completed. And between them, they added about, or they combined to add about $45,000 to the assessment for the district.
Just those two areas, just those two additions?
Through the mayor, yes, Councilmember Orlando, those are the largest additional dollars.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you. John, I don't know if this is the right time for it, and City Manager. Can we get a report on the organizations that benefit from having events in downtown? I know that this is a little bit different as the assessment goes, but I know that there's been a funding thing that we've been looking at for a while and how to find more funding for downtown and using the right partnerships to fund some of the events that we're doing, or using the non-for-profits. And there was some discussion of maybe using some other ones that would help enhance even further. And it doesn't have to happen tonight, but I'd love to see a piece on that.
Through the mayor, Councilmember Stewart, we'd be happy to provide that to you. We don't have it with us, but it's easy enough to get.
All right. All right. Any additional questions or comments from council? Seeing none. And did we have any cards from the public related to this?
No comments were received on this item.
All right, so no discussion from the audience. With that, I would like to close our second public hearing. And council, again, for action tonight, we have resolution number 5365 approving the 2021 annual assessment for the city of Chandler, Downtown Chandler Enhanced Municipal Services District. How would you, is there a motion in order as we discuss this? Councilmember McClymans.
I'll move to approve resolution number 5365, action agenda item number 10.
Second? Second by Councilmember Wong. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, council, please vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right. And as I previously mentioned, we'll be looking at the item number 21, the second action item at a future date. Next on our agenda, council, is public or council announcements. But before we share, I'd like the city manager to, we'll move her out of order and put her in front today. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be happy to go to last next time. Really appreciate it. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, as you know, bars have closed and restaurants suspended dine-in restaurant service under the governor's executive order on March 19th. This week, restaurants could resume dine-in service and bars can reopen this weekend following the CDC guidelines. Due to extraordinary economic circumstances these past 2 months, and with council direction to look at what we could do as a city to help our local businesses, we have determined that measures could be taken to reduce the financial burden for Chandler businesses that hold a liquor license. Under normal circumstances, the 2020 liquor license renewals would be due by June 30th. These fees range from $300 to $1,000 annually, depending on the series of liquor license to be renewed. After discussing with each of you independently, tonight I am signing a declaration under the COVID-19 emergency proclamation to reduce the renewal fee for all 2020 liquor license renewals by 50%. The payment due date for liquor license renewals would also be extended to September 30th of 2020, and no penalty will be assessed for late payment of the liquor license renewal fees. This declaration shall take effect immediately and is subject to ratification by the Chandler City Council at your May 28th City Council meeting. If approved, this will assist 438 Chandler businesses during this critical time. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your consideration of this declaration to support our local businesses. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, City Manager. And again, Council, this will come before us at a future council meeting. I personally, as we have heard within our community, the hospitality industry has been the hardest hit of all of our small businesses, and this is probably an easy way to help a lot of people. And it's not a lot of money for each individual, but it adds up, and it'll be a welcome respite for each and every one of the restaurants and bars that are impacted by this. So thank you, City Manager, and thank you, Council. I do have a couple announcements I'll start with. As yesterday, Council and I announced the implementation of our Phase 2 Chandler's Return to Service Plan, and we're excited to continue opening up our community in a safe fashion, one filled with social distancing protocols and hygiene measures. And we will continue to follow all CDC guidelines and directions from the Arizona Department of Health to protect our public health. I do want to encourage you to visit Chandler's COVID-19 website to view the details on our plan. I've also heard from several businessmen that reopening this week and weekend, including the Chandler Mall on Saturday. And while you are out enjoying the community, please remember to use increased hygiene practices and safe physical distancing. I know at least one other community around us has added a kind of auxiliary measure for small businesses to open. I believe in the ability and intelligence of our small business owners and anticipate that they will open in safe ways that will continue to give them a breath of air, a breath of fresh air to open, but also opening responsibly as we continue to see our community bounce back. I do want to thank our council and our staff for working diligently together to ensure that we can reopen our community in a safe measure. As we know, we're not out of this. I think social distancing and other measures are going to be with us for a very long time. As we entered into this process, our goal was and continues to be the mitigation of the impact of this virus so that our health professionals can and will continue to be able to treat those who struggle with this. We never thought from the beginning, nor is it ever a thought now, that social self-isolation and these measures will prevent people from getting the virus. It certainly will allow our health measures to continue to be able to treat this. As the governor's measures, his new executive orders went in, we encourage those in our community who are compromised health-wise or who are fearful to continue to social distance, continue to socially isolate yourselves and make sure that you are protecting yourselves. But this also gives measures for that, as well as our community the opportunity to come back. I'd also like to announce this is National Police Week. And so we'd like to pay a special recognition to our law enforcement officers, not only here in Chandler, but across the country, who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. This has been interesting as a underscored statement, but with these additional measures and concerns upon our community, but we certainly want to continue to honor and respect our public safety officers. We also want to recognize our Chandler Police Department for their dedication in serving our community. Our police force works tirelessly to make sure that Chandler remains safe and beautiful for our residents, visitors, and businesses. We want to thank our Chandler PD for all that they do. We have seen some unusual activities as more people have been in lockdown, as this has kind of released a new wave of other crimes. I'm thankful that our police have stepped up and they continue to be safe. So thank you, Chandler Police, for all that you do. Councilmember Stewart.
Mayor, thanks very much, and my shout out goes to the police department and fire department as well. They've done an incredible job of helping us get through this. We're not out of the woods yet, and I want to thank you, Mayor and Council and City Manager and staff through this entire process. Everybody sort of, grabbed the rope and started pulling. And I also want to thank you, Mayor, specifically for including Council in every decision that was made as it relates to this crisis. It's not over yet. We've got a lot of work to still do, but in every step of the way, via phone or meeting, you included us, and not every city did that. And I want to tell you how much that means to me personally, but I know a lot of our community really is glad about that. So thank you very much. Staff, I want to commend you also for jumping all over getting our parks open as quickly as possible, as well as our restrooms. I know there's some things that will be coming online this weekend, next week, and so on, but that's important for our community. And it's a sign of where we're headed. We're going to come out from underneath this crisis and move forward. So thank you very much. And one thing I do want to mention earlier, it's really exciting. We're building a school, a brand new high school. And so I know that some people are going to be concerned about the traffic and the stoplight, but there's so many communities don't have that luxury. We are building a brand new high school, and that is something that just doesn't happen every day. So we should be really happy about that, and I certainly am. But I want to talk to you real quick about the Chandler, our most vulnerable population, and what they're dealing with during this pandemic. So our city's community development division has been working tirelessly to assist Chandler's most vulnerable and those experiencing homelessness during the COVID-19 pandemic. This has hit that community very hard. A few of those program changes include providing cell phones for increased communication, daily well checks, and continued progress towards housing and service goals. 3 portable hand washing stations and restrooms were placed in strategic locations in partnership with local faith organizations to ensure those living without shelter have their essential services and can be cleaner. Through the partnership with Maricopa County, Tempe, Mesa, and Community Bridges, the most vulnerable people experiencing homelessness were put up in East Valley hotels. Lastly, through partnership with Protect AZ, Haitian Disaster Relief Arizona, the Salvation Army Chandler Corp., 100 COVID-19 tests were provided at no cost to persons experiencing homelessness. Thank you to our Community Development Division for your tireless contributions to keeping the most vulnerable of our Chandler community safe and healthy during this time. Councilmember McClymans.
Thank you, Councilmember Stewart. And I'd also like to shout out to Far City for their work in being part of that too. It's been a lot of great workers with that. So, Councilmember McClymans.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Stewart. I have a habit of saying ditto when you delivered a great message. I'll reiterate, thank you, Mayor, as we went through the trying times of closing down the city to ramping up the city. Thank you for including us every step of the way. We've had a lot of long nights working through this, and we're just reaching the next steps and what that's going to look like. And I want to commend our city staff, everybody, mayor and council, for continuing to look for innovative and creative ways to breathe life into our business community. I'm excited for May 28th to vote for what our city manager recommended tonight. And, I know working together in unison, with the Chandler Chamber, our community stakeholders, will revitalize our economy. And we can do so in a safe and careful way. So I want to reiterate, we're ramping up, but social distancing is still a thing. So be safe out there. And on a lighter note, the Love Chandler Challenge for May will provide participants the opportunity to honor and thank our healthcare providers and first responders. Those in the front line deserve our appreciation and support as they work to keep Chandler community safe during the pandemic. To participate, simply make a sign thanking our healthcare workers and first responders. Take a photo or video of you or your family with the sign and share it on the City of Chandler Facebook or Instagram post. All that submit photos or videos will be added to the final video to be posted on social media to thank our Chandler healthcare workers and first responders. So submit your photos and videos today. The challenge ends May 27th, and one submission will be chosen to receive a special edition Chandler State 48 t-shirt. Thank you. Yeah, well, that's a great question.
Let's just say you're eligible to be in the video. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. The double ditto here of everything that was said, again, thank you first to our first responders, again, on those front lines out there and dealing with the crisis, firsthand every day, dealing with the aftermath and unintended consequences, both police and fire. Also, thank you to the staff for, again, the out-of-box thinking that was presented tonight. I mean, that's the kind of things that, from the grassroots, from the businesses and our public, and from the staff that are actually executing these day-to-day operations to see where can we make a difference to help out our businesses, help out our community. And again, thank you to the mayor and all the other council members for the robust debates that we have on making sure that we close down Chandler properly and pragmatic, and doing the same as we're opening, to making sure we're looking at good data and being optimistic for our businesses out there to try to help them as we all try to recover. As everyone said before, we're not out of the woods. It's not over yet, but we have to be cautiously optimistic and make sure we also follow that data. As part of that, since the parks are opening up, one of the things that we want to make sure that everyone is also involved in is our new developing strategic plan for our parks to ensure that they are accessible, sustainable, and innovative for the future and for our generations to come. We invite the community to learn more about the project and share feedback at planchandlersparks.com. Additionally, the public meetings to obtain feedback from the community has been shut down due to the crisis, but we will reschedule those as a future date. So to learn more, please do visit, again, planchandlersparks.com to provide your suggestions, insight, and find additional updates. Thank you for your involvement, and please stay involved.
Vice Mayor, I'll confess, the first time I read that website, I thought it was planchandlerspark.com. So anyway. Councilmember Wong.
I also want to thank you for everybody that we working together during this special time, mayor, council members, and our staff. Today, I also want to say congratulations to 4 special women in our city of Chandler. We have 4 City of Chandler employees were honored in the May edition of Chandler Lifestyle magazine as Women of Chandler. And please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Join me in congratulating Kim Morris, Director of Cultural Development, Michelle McLennan, General Manager for the Chandler Center for the Arts, and Lieutenant Melissa Dinda of the Chandler Police Department, and Jessica Wester Miller, Crisis Intervention Coordinator for the Chandler Fire Department. We are so grateful for your contribution and dedication to our community. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up, Councilmember. Councilmember Rowe.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, great idea to our city manager and staff on collaborating around trying to do little things wherever we can to try and show our community, our business owners, our employees, and just the community in general that we are with them, and we're going to continue to look for ideas. And if you have something to share, please let us know. We'd love to hear it. And also, hot weather is approaching, and we're headed for Memorial Day, so I encourage everybody to be safe out there and celebrate with your family and friends, but be safe and take a minute to remember what Memorial Day is, and it is an important event, and so let's not sidestep that, and watch your kids around water, especially, and also when you're shopping and when it's hot out there, folks. All right, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Orlando.
What a good segue, Mayor, into Memorial Day to what I'm about to talk about. Thank you. And please do remember those that have served and given their lives for this country. Well, the city's exciting next venture with veterans. We're going to the City Diversity Office and the Chandler Museum, in partnership with the Salvation Army, are documenting the community's history of military service. The information gathered will be used by the Chandler Museum to compile a veterans database and use as a foundation for a future initiative to honor those services and share the stories of Chandler's veterans for years to come. Chandler veterans who like to share their story or share the story of a family member who served may complete a form with their service information and upload the photos online. There it is below. Veterans and their families may also donate original photographs, scrapbook, uniforms, and other items that will help document our veterans' history. And again, Mayor, thank you very much, this council, for taking us the next 5 to 6 weeks into this cycle. Again, it's not over. I'm sure we'll be discussing, let's hope we're not discussing future events, that things could get settled back. But again, remember those that gave their lives for this country. Thank you.
Well, with that, that concludes our city council meeting tonight. Stay safe. Have a good night.